Good morning and welcome to Ireland AM. It's Monday, the 14th of August, and look, I have a new face beside me in studio. Good morning,
hello.
Shiva. How are you?
Yes, I've stepped into Maureen's shoes for the week. You'll look after me though, won't you, Alan?
Of course I will. You're going to be brilliant. It's going to be a fantastic week and a fantastic day, and we've a jam-packed show in store. Here's what's coming up.
It was a busy weekend of sport with the return of the Premier League, and Dublin beat Kerry to win the ladies' All-Ireland senior football title. We'll be reviewing all of that action shortly.
Yeah, and speaking of women in sport, we're going to hear from a GAA All-Star and Kildare keeper, Mary Hulgrain, as she opens up about her struggles with addiction. Can't wait to talk to her.
Plus, Ali Ryan from Goss.ie brings us all the latest tales from Tinseltown and beyond.
You want for the gossip?
Love a bit of gossip now, me. You know me.
Now, and we have a new face and an old face as well, because Ray's over there. Good morning to you, Ray.
He didn't call my face fresh, did he? Brutally honest, as always. Yeah, coming up this morning, funny man Peter McGann is going to be joining us to chat viral videos and writing comedy. Plus, we have a one-pan wonder in the Ireland AM kitchen. That's coming up.
One-pan wonder. Do you like an old one-pan wonder, Ray?
I wonder what it is. I wonder if it'll be any good, actually, this morning.
It'll be fabulous. Don't worry about
crossed.
it.
Nice breakfast.
We'll be eating by 8:30.
Sounds delicious. Deric is also wandering around Wicklow this morning. How's it going there, Deric?
Shiva, what else would you have me doing on a Monday morning? Wandering around Wicklow, exactly. That's what we're at here this morning. It's a dry and settled start weather-wise. A couple of hit and miss showers across today. Some heavy ones, in fact, through the southeast at the moment, in and around parts of eastern Munster, southeastern Leinster. We'll have more on that across the morning. Greystones Beach is where we're at this morning. Beach volleyball. Would you believe it does happen here in Ireland, despite the awful summer we've been having? In fact, 10,000 people take part. So we're going to be giving that a go a little bit later on this morning. So think Pamela Anderson, think Mitch Buchanan. You get my drift, right, Shiva?
Are you going
Welcome
to be
to the funhouse, by the way.
Yeah. Are you going to be in your red Speedos, Deric?
Yes, yeah, I'm going to be Pamela Anderson.
No, he will be in his red Speedos. Wait to see later on. Only Deric. Looking forward to that. Now let's go over to the Virgin Media News Hub. Here's Aisling Roche.
Thanks, Alan. Good morning. A teenage boy is due in court this morning in connection with an assault on 3 tourists in Dublin city centre on Friday. There have been renewed calls on the Justice Minister to tackle crime on the streets of the city in the wake of the attack in Temple Bar. The Minister had announced a €10 million policing plan to help increase Garda visibility by offering members more overtime. But the opposition says Gardaí are already dealing with burnout.
What we need to see is an immediate recruitment campaign for An Garda Síochána. We need to see those who are ready to be deployed immediately. We also need to see the red tape and bureaucracy that Gardaí have to deal with reduced and lessened, and more use perhaps of the Garda Reserve. So there are things that can be done immediately that will make a real difference. Unfortunately, the Minister is not doing that. What she has done instead is announced a €10 million stick and plaster to get Gardaí who are already burnt out and doing a lot of overtime to do more overtime.
Gardaí are continuing to investigate after a child was critically injured in a collision on the Cork Road into Carrigaline. The boy was cycling his bike when he was hit by a car at the Ballinray roundabout at around 9:20 on Saturday morning. He was rushed to Cork University Hospital but has since been transferred to Temple Street Hospital in Dublin, where he remains in a critical condition. Gardaí are appealing for witnesses to come forward. At least 93 people have been confirmed dead in the aftermath of devastating wildfires in Hawaii. Police are using rapid DNA tests to identify remains found in the wreckage. Hundreds remain unaccounted for as electricity remains down in many parts of Maui.
It's thought as many as 1,000 people are still unaccounted for. Cell towers on the Hawaiian island of Maui have been damaged and belongings destroyed, making it difficult for people to make contact. For many residents in the tourist town of Lahaina, the events of the past few days are only just sinking in.
Yeah, I thought I was coping with it pretty well, but then some of my friends had come in and started saying, like, you know who's still missing, like so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. And I think that's when it started kind of like clicking in my head a little bit.
Many survivors say warning sirens were not used in advance of the fire, giving them little to no notice to evacuate.
And the fire didn't just go as one big wall. What was happening is the fire was projectiling embers into the neighborhood, and the neighborhood random houses were catching on fire and creating new starting points.
A review into the speed and effectiveness of the emergency alerts is being carried out, but for now, focus remains on reuniting survivors and identifying victims of the worst wildfire the US has seen in 100 years. Mairead Cleary, Virgin Media News.
Niger's military regime has vowed to prosecute ousted President Mohamed Bazoum for high treason and slammed West African leaders for imposing sanctions on the country. The Economic Community of West African States imposed sanctions in response to the coup and has not ruled out using force against the army. In the US, investigations are ongoing into the cause of an explosion in a Pennsylvania neighbourhood. 4 people were killed after their home in Plum, a suburb of Pittsburgh, exploded. The blast levelled the house and a fire destroyed 2 other houses and damaged dozens more. Several people were hurt in the incident, but one person still receiving treatment in hospital for critical injuries.
We compare 14 insurance quotes to get you the best deal. So choose chill and work smarter, not harder.
Thank you, Joe, and a very good morning. We're broadcasting live here from Greystones down in County Wicklow. Beach volleyball is where we're at this morning to tie in with Women's Active Week. So lots of fun, lots of products coming your way now later on this morning. So do hang with us for that. Now, we're on to Monday, the 14th of August. So let's take a look at weather together now with Owen Kelly with us on cameras. And it is a dry start down here in the Garden County. Well, in fact, the north of County Wicklow, because we're seeing showers to the south east at the moment, into parts of South Wicklow, in fact through parts of Waterford and into County Wexford. In fact, some of that rain leaning on the slightly heavier side, but as we're good to cloud cover with some bright spells beginning to edge through now as we edge our way into a brand new week. Those mostly light to locally moderate west to northwesterly breezes now right across today. In fact, not a bad one as Joe. We're going to see some hit and miss showers, but once again some nice August sunshine on the cards to take us right across today. Not too bad in terms of those values too. Top temps of around 17 to 20 degrees. And across into tonight then, mainly dry and set. Good deal of clear skies to take us through tonight into tomorrow morning with some patches of mist, patches of fog as well as we tuck our way into your Tuesday with overnight lows no lower than 9 to 12 degrees. So that's how it's shaping up here in dry and settled Greystones, County Wicklow at the moment. We'll be back again live 7:35.
Chill Insurance work harder so you can work smarter. We compare 14 quotes to get you the best deal.
You're very welcome back. Time now to take a look at this morning's newspapers, and we'll start with the Irish Times. Its headline, up to €8 billion planned for housing agency. The government is discussing moves to divert as much as €8 billion from the new sovereign wealth fund into housing as part of a fresh push to boost the supply of social and affordable housing.
Fears for health of thousands as shocking air quality is revealed. That's the front page of the Irish Independent. A project by Dublin City Council and Google measured the air quality of the capital, exposing higher levels of pollutants than official data indicates. This causes an increase of conditions from stroke to asthma.
The Examiner leads with mother sleeps in fear of her son. An East Cork mother who cannot get emergency respite for her 15-year-old autistic son locks her bedroom door each night due to her fears over his obsession with knives and death. The HSE have apologised for the lack of respite care and are committed to exploring alternative supports.
Parents in line for €1,000 cut to college fees is the top story of the Daily Mail. Minister for Higher Education Simon Harris has indicated that the significant cost reduction will form part of a package to tackle the cost of living crisis in Budget 2024.
The Mayor goes with, I wish I'd thanked Sinead. The father of an Omagh bomb victim, Michael Gallagher, has told of his sadness at not being able to thank the singer Sinead O'Connor after she recorded a musical tribute of ABBA's hit Chiquitita for the 1998 bomb victims.
And staying with Sinead, The Sun leads with Sinead in movie talks. When she died, Sinead O'Connor was in talks about her biopic and had even picked out actors such as Demi Moore and Saoirse Ronan to play her at different stages of her life.
The Star leads with Make Our Streets Safe or Quit. Leading inner city representative Mannix Flynn has called on the Justice Minister to end the violent crime wave in Dublin or prepare to resign. He believes that Gardaí are not being allowed to do their jobs because higher-ups are more interested in statistics.
And staying with that story, the Herald goes with teen charged in Temple Bar assault. A teenage boy has been arrested in connection with a serious assault on 3 UK tourists and a robbery in Temple Bar on Friday night. The tourists were hospitalised as a result of the incident.
And we'll be discussing that Temple Bar assault after this short break, as well as the news that the price of a pint is set to rise as of today. We're devastated.
We're shocking. It's shocking.
Get them in now.
We're going to delve into the headlines after the break.
You're very welcome back. Now, a teenager has been arrested following an assault of 3 British tourists in Dublin city centre on Friday night.
Yes, joining us with that story and everything else this morning is Irish Independence, Gabrielle Gatfiscata. Good morning to you, Gabrielle. Now, let us start with this story. And a teenager arrested for this, and this is following on the attack of that American a couple of weeks ago, and there has been other attacks, but a teenager for that attack as well. So these are all young people, young guys in the city attacking these tourists.
Yeah, really quite scary story. It was on Friday night that 3 British tourists that are in their 20s got attacked in Temple Bar. They suffered injuries such as, I think, broken eye socket was one of them, broken noses as well. And now, as you'd rightfully say, a teenager has been arrested. He's due to appear in court this morning. But of course it comes on the back of Stephen Termini, who, you know, really suffered quite life-changing injuries on Talbot Street a couple of weeks ago, an attack that shocked the nation, I think it's fair to say. And it has meant that people have come out and said, we really need to see a serious increase in the number of guards that are out and about in Dublin City patrolling. We need to see a clampdown on crime. And if tourists are coming to Ireland, and of course we know we really rely on tourism to sustain our economy, and they're seeing these awful headlines, you know, lads coming to Dublin for a weekend to enjoy themselves and they're being attacked. You know, Stephen Termini, I think he saved for his entire life.
This was the American tourist
trip.
who was in. And do you know what annoyed me about that was then suddenly €10 million appeared for the guards.
That the reaction was there. It was overnight. They managed to find the money down the back of the couch
literally,
for funding.
10 million. Oh, should we give an extra 10 million to the guards in the city?
Yeah, and I think, you know, Minister for Justice Helen McEntee, she's really seeing the pressure being ramped up on her now. I think Councillor Mannix Flynn, who's an independent councillor, he's in the papers today saying you either clamp down on crime or you actually resign. Ógra Fianna Fáil, which is the youth wing of Fianna Fáil, they've also called on Minister McEntee to resign. I think it's not as straightforward as an issue for her. You know, she does promise extra number of guards in every single budget, and she'll say we'll get 1,000 more guards this year or 2,000 more, and I'm pretty sure in budget 2024, which is coming up in October, she'll say something similar perhaps. That's just due to population increases. Of course, we need to see more guards as population increases. But it's not a very straightforward solution. Yes, you may have more guards patrolling, but if there's teenagers that are out and attacking people, are they afraid of the law? I think is also a valid question. And the answer is probably no.
And there's going to be focus on every single incident now following on from these. There's going to be hyper focus on them and hyper focus on Helen McEntee and I suppose her record as things continue on. We're breathing terrible air. We thought the air was grand, but it turns out there weren't enough stations measuring it in the first place.
Apparently not. And the stations, the quality of the stations, I think the standards that they upkeep is actually not really that very good. So we do know that about 1,400 people, or even up to 1,700 people every single year die prematurely as a result of poor air quality. But this study is actually very interesting. So Carolina Doherty, my colleague in the Irish Independent, she reports today that Google sort of teamed up with Dublin City Council and they mapped out, you know, nearly every area across the country in a much better way than the actual official monitors that we have. And it found that actually the air quality is really very, very poor. She also spoke to one family that's living in one of those kind of worst hit air quality black spots. You know, and the dad had no idea that his child was sort of breathing this really quite dangerous air that it could mean
It's like the traffic outside their house.
Yes, they're on a very busy road in Clonskey.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's saying, oh, sure, you know, I try and smoke my cigarette outside of the house. I didn't realise the traffic outside was actually that bad that it could lead to, you know, health implications. Also, scientists telling the Irish Independent, actually, this data that's been surveyed, and it will be used by Dublin City Council. So even though it's not official government data, it is being taken very seriously. They're saying we are going to use it for, you know, whatever we try and do to improve air quality. Of course, you know, the Green Party bangs on about this all the time and they say, look, if you reduce traffic, that's one way of getting around it. Yeah,
that is the one that's the focus. And then the more monitors, I suppose, to have more monitors measuring nearby that particular instance. Or
would have never thought that between 1,400 and 1,700 people are dying prematurely in Ireland because of our air quality.
Due to things like, you know, heart disease, you know, other sort of heart-lung complications as well that you may not directly link to air quality, but you may think, where are they coming from? And that's your answer.
And like these... because these monitors are not near where they're supposed to be.
That one example there of the guy whose kid was right next to the particularly bad traffic in North Dublin. The nearest measuring station was like 2.5 kilometres.
Kilometres away.
So
and they're too localised, so they don't actually get, I think they only sort of have a very small radius, so they don't spread out enough. So actually, you may look at it and the monitor might say, oh, it's green light, everything's grand here. But actually, just outside of the radius, it might actually be pretty bad, and you don't even know.
Now, bad news for a lot of people around the country. The price of a pint's going up from today.
Bad news for a Monday if you're looking to beat the Monday blues, but it's another 4 cent coming onto the price of a pint. And publicans are saying, look, we've seen, I think, isn't it 12 cent in February on the price of a pint? Yes, another 4 cent hike today. And those small publicans will tell you this is going to hit us particularly hard. We've already been forced to up our prices. Speaking to Ralph Riegel, they're saying, this is very hard for us. We've already up our prices, our overheads are going up. We're probably passing on those increases to customers as well. Another 4 cent, you may say, that's not a lot. But like someone has to pay it.
When it's added on top of it, because you're saying now that it will probably be, like we're talking about Temple Bar, €9 now for a pint in Temple Bar.
And I think we are going to see that horror story of a tenner for a pint creeping into more and more pubs.
Of course you will.
Which is shocking. And again, if you're coming to Ireland, you want to get your your pint of Guinness, but paying €10 for it is just extraordinary.
Even those last few holdouts that were saying, oh, we're the cheapest pint in Ireland, or we're the cheapest, those that were refusing to budge, they're saying they've no option now, they're going to have to increase the prices.
And Diageo saying that they have to put it up because of their increasing costs. We'd love to know from you at home, where's the cheapest pint and the most expensive pint you've ever come across? 0896 111 111, because I'd love to know where the cheapest one is.
Of course, Alan's drawn a map this morning.
We're drawing a map, and we're literally going to put a map of Ireland up, and we're going to start marking throughout the morning.
Yeah, we know where Alan's spending the rest of the day.
Where you can buy the cheapest pint, because €9 in Temple Bar is just, it's just
You're going to do a road trip around the country, Alan.
This is a trip around the rest of the week.
0896 111 111, let us know. Now, I love this. This is like, this sort of makes sense. Rewatching old shows that you know can actually help with stress and anxiety, because it's familiar to you. You know what it's going to be like, so you actually can watch it, just sit back and relax.
Yeah, even though you know exactly what's going to happen, you probably can recite some of it. Psychologists are saying it can be very therapeutic if you're feeling anxious. It can calm you down. And I think because you know what's going to happen next, there are no surprises, perhaps not the edge of your seat, but it does help to alleviate some of that stress. So there was an article on her.ie and the author saying, you know, even though I have a big list of things to watch, it's always back to Gilmore Girls for me. And actually, that does help to soothe your nerves a little bit, even though you know what's going to happen, you know the joke that's coming up. It's still funny every single time, and actually, it's good for you.
It's good for your mental health.
What do you watch? Do you
Friends would be the one that's kind of always on in the background, I suppose.
Well, it's just always on telly.
That's it. It's just it's constantly on. Father Ted isn't always a good one to go back to as well.
Actually very good.
To revisit again and again and again. Yeah,
Father Ted's a good one. I know my husband watches Friends and Golden Girls. Golden Girls on loop.
Didn't he marry a Golden Girl? Sure. That one's making the clips.
Oh, there you go.
Gavia, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks a million. Thank you.
What do you watch?
Well, I'm currently rewatching Breaking Bad, but I wouldn't have that on a loop.
Oh, no, that wouldn't be on loop yet. That wouldn't calm your nerves, would it?
Desperate Housewives for me is another one.
Oh,
I like to have that on.
Yeah. Let us know, do you watch old reruns of shows and you just want to sit back, relax and watch it and don't mind Ray?
Yeah, well, there is the stress then as well of knowing that you've got new TV shows to watch as well. Do you know that kind of, oh God, I still haven't finished that one, or I'll have to start the new series of that's coming out next week.
0896 111 let us know.
Lovely. Coming up, we're taking a quick stop tour of the weekend's sporting highlights.
See you back here in a few.
You're very welcome back. It was a packed weekend of sport with Dublin crowned the ladies All-Ireland football champions. On top of that, the Women's World Cup semi-finalists have been named. And of course, a lot of people's weekends just got a whole lot better with the return of the Premier League.
Here to discuss the latest sporting news are Gavin Cooney from the 42.ie and former All-Ireland winner Paddy Andrews. Gentlemen, thanks so much for getting up early for us this morning.
Happy to
see you. Paddy, a win for the Dubs yesterday, and what a game it was.
It's great. We've had a good couple of weeks in the city now, I have to say. So Dublin Kerry again in the ladies' final, similar to the men's 2 weeks ago. And Dublin, after a couple of years of kind of underperforming, they lost the final to Meath in 2021, and they were beaten early in the championship last year. But McGann and the ladies' team, a brilliant performance yesterday. 45,000 people in at the ladies' final, so they're actually probably hoping for a slightly bigger crowd, but It was a brilliant performance from Dublin. They'd lost to Kerry twice this year already, so Kerry were kind of coming in maybe slight favourites, but literally from the throw-in, Dublin got a brilliant score through Hannah Tyrrell, who was exceptional. She was player of the match, scored 8 points in that first half, and Dublin, just the power all over the pitch yesterday. A brilliant win. It's their 6th title at this level. So for McGann, there was a lot of turnover in the squad as well since their last win 3 years ago. There probably wasn't massive expectation for them, Ray, this year to win this thing, particularly like early season form wasn't great. But the performance, particularly over the last couple of months, has been outstanding. And yesterday capped off a brilliant season for McGann and the ladies team, and also for Dublin GAA. There's no harm beating Kerry second time in 2 weeks. So,
and this Kerry famine goes on. It goes back to, I think it's 1994. I think is the last one in All Ireland. Declan Quills, their manager, was very downbeat after the game. So they were beaten in last year's final. So there is now a wonder whether they can come back. But it would be remiss of us not to add that Hannah Tyrrell now has one of the most amazing sporting careers in Irish history. So she won an FAI Cup against a team featuring one Denise O'Sullivan. Then she went on to play for the Irish Women's 15s, won the Six Nations. Then came back to play for the Dubs to win an All Ireland. Didn't win it when she first came back against Meath, but got over the line yesterday. It's amazing.
And she's another string to her bow now. She has a brand new baby. I saw it was out in the pitch there after the win. 7-week-old baby.
7 weeks. They loving it. It was great photos as well. You see that there was a great photo. I think it was in the Independent this morning, chatting with one of the Kerry girls as well, who had her son who was 16 months old. Just really cool photos afterwards as well. Baby had the earmuffs in. Was pretty loud, I'd say. So a brilliant day for Hannah Tyrrell and for Dublin GAA as well. So yeah, another success story.
Fantastic, yeah. You have to put the baby in the cup, don't you? I mean,
I think so. Just about fit, Ray.
Just about. It worked out grand. Also in sport this morning and looking to Australia. This is the quarterfinals that were over the last couple of days.
Yeah, I think
busy.
Yeah, it's a sharp intake of breath, everybody, because it now looks like England might go and win this World Cup.
There's still time.
Fallen behind against Colombia and fought back to win 2-1, so they're into the semi-finals against the host Australia on Wednesday. Australia, this World Cup has completely gripped the nation. Like this, there's people talking about that this is the biggest sporting event held in Australia since the 2000 Olympics in Sydney, and what apathy was there at the start of the tournament nationally is completely gone now, so the entire country is on board with this. So they won this incredibly dramatic shootout against France in their semi-final early on Sunday morning, the longest in World Cup history. And then on the other side of the draw, Japan, who were so impressive throughout the group stages, knocked out by Sweden, so they are denied a reunion with Spain in the semi-finals. So Spain beat Netherlands at an ungodly hour, at like 2:30 Irish time on Saturday morning. So yeah, we're nearly there now. Semi-finals Tuesday, Wednesday ahead of the decider this weekend.
And have you any predictions on how the semi-finals will go?
I think sadly that England will wreck Australia's dreams, and I think Spain
even with all the home support they have.
Yeah, really? Unfortunately, and then Spain on the other side. I think Spain and England in the final, and then I do think England will win it.
You have been tipping them, Gav, for this whole thing.
So. And I have no joy in being right.
We'll see. Come back to us next Monday. The Aussies do love playing England in every sport, and it will be an incredible atmosphere. Wednesday morning that game is on, and you're right, it will be one of the biggest sporting events in Australia's history. So I'm holding out that the Aussies might be able to pull something out of the bag.
I'd say so. With the home audience, like I know they had a jam-packed 50,000 people full audience for their match in Brisbane.
And the big news is that Sam Kerr, their talismanic forward, is fit again. You know, she missed the Ireland game and missed the group stages through injury, but she came off the bench and scored her penalty in the shootout, so perhaps she's fit enough to start. So maybe she's the joker in the pack that Australia will need.
Right, well.
Women's sport coming to the forefront, though, isn't it? I mean, when you're talking about 45,000 people at Croke Park over the weekend, and the second story is the Women's World Cup. It's fantastic, and we're turning a corner, Paddy.
Yeah, it's massive. Do you know what? There's 45,000. I think the GA were probably a little bit disappointed that was small. They were expecting, hopefully, 60,000 at it yesterday. But you're right, Ray. The summer, look, the Irish ladies soccer team has been the massive success story. Getting to the World Cup, you've seen the reaction around the country for that. We have the Olympics next year. We've massive female representation in that as well. But I think the biggest thing from a GAA perspective, and obviously being a Dub, slightly biased, the quality of the play yesterday, the power and the athleticism of the Dublin team, the skill levels they had, that's a credit to Mick Mahan, but the work that's gone on in women's sport.
All right, man. There's people watching from Kerry as well. Come on.
Kerry were very good as well, right? But, no, you're right. It is brilliant to see. and it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, which is brilliant.
Yeah, which is fantastic.
Super.
The return of the Premier League then. It's almost back to school time, Gavin.
Yeah, it really is.
It's terrific.
You can already feel a kind of a chill in the air. And that's because Man City are back and winning and dominating the Premier League once again. So yesterday's games, Spurs began the post-Harry Kane era with a 2-2 draw away to Brentford. Goals from a centre-back, Christian Romero, and a right-back in Emerson Royale. So maybe Kane have been holding these guys back, or maybe that's going to be unsustainable. But a solid opening to the new era under their new manager, Ange Postecoglou. And then the second game, Liverpool-Chelsea, who'd spent the week duking it out over this Brighton midfielder, Moises Caicedo. They're falling over each other to offer £115 million to buy him. They then spent the first half of yesterday's game showing exactly why they need him. They were brittle and open. It was tremendous entertainment for everybody else. And then the game kind of fizzled out to this 1-1 draw. It was like kind of pre-season vibes to it, wasn't it?
Yeah, you get the sense they're probably not at their peak just yet. Last season was obviously, it seemed to drag on for months and months and months and months and months. So you get the sense teams are not really at their peak just yet. But for Chelsea and Liverpool, I don't think it was too bad. I do think they ran out of steam towards the end. I think the big success story was Sky Sports have brought in a completely new punditry team, which was exceedingly entertaining. I think Roy Keane may not last the season if he's to deal with Daniel Sturridge and Micah Richards, but it was very good entertainment. But you're right, Ray, we've got 9 months of the Premier League ahead of us, so wasn't a bad start.
Yeah, running. And Harry Kane as well, since he had left. It was his first match since Harry Kane had left. Yeah. And I suppose that drama rumbling on as well.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been one of the big transfer sagas of the summer. So it's finally over now for Tottenham, that the soul, like the kind of the soul of their team and their main source of goals. So he went to Bayern Munich and played his first game at the weekend and lost 3-0 in a cup final to
a ready-made replacement for him. He was the soul of that team for the best part of a decade. They're not really known for splashing the cash either. So yes, they've got sold Harry Kane, but there's no real ready-made replacement for him either. So unfortunately for Spurs fans, I feel it could be a long, long season without their talisman.
Yeah. And just quickly at the end, so Haaland got 2 scores in his first game. Do you reckon he's looking to be top striker of the season again?
Oh, yeah. I think you can run to the bank with that one, I'm afraid. 2 from... I think he had 9 touches in the first half against Burnley and he scored twice. And I think there might have been a kick-off in there as well. So just completely ruthless, utterly lethal.
So they're looking good again for title contention?
I mean, who's going to stop them? Manchester United are playing Wolves tonight, so
yeah,
we'll see.
I'm a long-suffering United fan, but even I can't really see anyone getting past City this year. So, yeah, we'll see, but we live in hope.
Yep, early days yet. Boys, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Much obliged, good to see you. Right, it's time for a short break. Alan, what's up next?
Right, up next we're going to find out why turning to Dr. Google when you're feeling sick might not be the best solution. We'll see after this short break.
Hello, you're very welcome back. Now, if you Google search your symptoms as soon as you're feeling under the weather, then you might be a cyberchondriac.
Yes, this is something that a lot of us are guilty of, but it's a very real condition. And here to give us some insight into this is cyberpsychologist Dr. Nicola Fox-Hamilton and pharmacist Sheena Mitchell. Good morning to both of you. We were just discussing this before we came on air. I'm a total hypochondriac. All my friends, even Mirren, slags me for it all the time. But I never turn to Google. But what is this? What is a cyberchondriac?
So cyberchondria is actually more of a symptom than an actual condition. So it's not a disorder, it's not in any of the handbooks that identify disorders, but it's a symptom that's related to some other disorders, very much related to health anxiety or illness anxiety disorder, which is what we call hypochondria now, to obsessive compulsive disorder, and also to problematic internet use as well. So it's basically where you have excessive worry about your health that's not related to actual symptoms, and you start to compulsively and excessively search for health information online to try and reassure yourself that things are okay. But instead of feeling relief from it, you actually get more anxiety, partially because you're processing so much information and poor quality information. And it can just lead to more anxiety and an escalation of your anxiety. And then you turn to more searching and so on. So it can become a kind of a vicious cycle.
Okay. And so I'm sure everyone out there Googles their symptoms now and then. So how do you identify that you have this cyberchondriac syndrome?
I think very simply, if you search for your symptoms online and you feel relieved or not very anxious afterwards, you don't really have a problem, because loads of us search for our symptoms without any issue at all. If you come away from it feeling more anxious and feeling like you need to do more searches, or you need to continuously go to your doctor and search and search and search, that's when you've maybe got an issue. I think most people with health anxiety kind of know that they have it. They constantly worry about things with their health. If something minor happens, they catastrophize it a bit. If you feel like that, then you're better off not searching online. You're better off actually talking to your doctor and developing a good relationship with your doctor instead.
And I suppose at the moment there is, like, we all know about the waiting lists. I mean, I was trying to get bloods and it was like, I could get bloods 3 months' time. I was going, oh my God, 3 months. So, I mean, Sheena, as a pharmacist then, do you see that people coming in, they went, I have a sore throat, and I Googled it, and I think, and they start saying, I have this or I have this, and they obviously don't. They might just have a sore throat.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I would say is it works both ways, and I think you hit the nail on the head there. There's a lot of issues compounding this problem. So people aren't able to access healthcare, and that's something, you know, I'm a big advocate for accessible healthcare. And so people are turning to Google to try and, I suppose, do a bit of the homework themselves to avoid doctor visits. And then even when you look at the financial situation.
I suppose that, like, it's €65 to go to a doctor, and you could go to your local pharmacist and go, I'm after looking at this on the internet, I think I have this, what do you think?
Exactly, and if it's a choice between, you know, feeding your family for the week or bringing one of your plethora of children to the GP, you know, if they're 9 or 10 and they're not covered. But what I would say is that caution is always needed. What we find commonly coming into pharmacy, and this is really, really why it's important to seek medical attention, including pharmacists as healthcare professionals. So people will come in and say, I've got this dry, tickly cough, and they've been maybe self-treating with cough bottles, and they've been doing this for several weeks on end. They could have maybe an underlying stomach ulcer that is worsening because of the medication they're taking. And when we chat to them in a community pharmacy level, we suddenly find out, we'll ascertain their medication that they're on and go, well, actually, you started a new blood pressure medication, for example, and one of the side effects that can happen with that is an irritating, persistent dry cough. So they're treating something...
It's just a sign of something else, or it's an effect of something else they're taking. But, like, Sheena, can I ask you then, because if I go into my pharmacy, the pharmacists are under an awful lot of pressure as well. And I don't think it's the same now as the days when you could go into the pharmacist and talk to them, because they just don't have time.
I'm going to disagree and agree, because you're right, we are busy, we're under pressures, we're under a lot of bureaucratic nonsense that I won't go into today, where, you know, we're overburdened with pointless admin, and we'd much rather have more time to be out with our patients. However, on the flip side, 2 things. First of all, every pharmacy in the country has a private consultation room. We'll all have seen that from where we rolled out all the vaccinations really efficiently. The other thing is, it's not just the pharmacists that are in pharmacies. We have trained counter assistants, technicians and other people who are absolutely trained in over-the-counter medicines and the treatment of minor ailments. So while you mightn't be always speaking to the pharmacist, the likelihood is you are trained with someone who is appropriately educated to be able to respond to your symptoms. And what they do, we train them to flag, so they'll be aware of warning symptoms that they then come to us with, and if the pharmacist is needed, we're always available, you know?
And Nicola, so you mentioned there about health anxiety. So I don't think that's anything new, but I think with the rise of maybe misinformation on social media, that it's become massively increased.
Yeah. So one of the things that can increase health anxiety is having to process the amount and poor quality of information you find online. So we know that the vast majority, in fact, of health information online is actually very poor quality. It might be misleading, there might be information missing, sometimes it's just completely plain wrong. And so ideally people would be going to sources, things like the HSE, the NHS, you know, good quality sources. Ideally they'd be guided by their doctor or their pharmacist to the good sources. A lot of the time that's not happening. Patients are doing it on their own. And so having good quality sources is really, really important. And also having an awareness that when you search for information online, the algorithms are pushing certain information. So the things that people click on most are the things you're going to get most. So if you search for headache and you see brain tumor, you're like, oh my God, and you click on that. And so of course that comes up more. So there's this bias towards very catastrophic outcomes, and that can increase health anxiety as well. So it's having an awareness of that is actually actually helpful. So one of the interventions that's quite useful for reducing hypochondria and health anxiety is teaching people about the problems with online health information, teaching them how to find neutral sources and to avoid catastrophic thinking, because the catastrophic outcomes are very unlikely in comparison to things like a headache.
And go to places like the HSC because they have the proper information.
Yeah.
Are there any positives at all from going online? Because I know you could find support groups maybe for someone like if you have an eating disorder or something like that, that you might actually find a support group that could help you.
Yeah. There are huge positives to it. So one are the support groups. The other is that searching for information about your health online actually leads to better doctor-patient relationships, particularly when the doctors are open to having those conversations. But support groups are immensely helpful to people. They have some negatives as well. Sometimes the quality of information isn't as good. But finding people who have the same experience as you, particularly if you're newly diagnosed, can give so much social support to people. It reduces loneliness, anxiety, depression. It can be immensely beneficial.
Well, I tell you, it is something that as I said, I'm a hypochondriac, but I've never gone on Dr. Google because I do think it is a dangerous place, and it is something that we will obviously discuss again. But thank you very much for coming in this morning. That's Dr. Nicola Fox-Hamilton, who's a cyber psychologist, and Sheena Mitchell, who's a pharmacist. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
It's time for Dr. Google, I'm telling you. Oh, it's time for a break now, but there's lots more still to come this morning. Deric is finding his call for beach volleyball. He'll be in his little briefies, no doubt.
Can't wait. And from serving on the sand to serving in the kitchen, we're prepping the perfect poultry plate. See you in a few.
See you then.
Time now to take a look at this morning's papers, starting with the Irish Times. Its headline, up to €8 billion planned for housing agency. The government is discussing moves to divert as much as €8 billion from the new Sovereign Wealth Fund into housing as part of a fresh push of boost of the local supply of social and affordable housing.
Fears for health of thousands as shocking air quality revealed. That's the front page of the Irish Independent. A project by Dublin City Council and Google measured the air quality of the capital, exposing higher levels of pollutants than official data indicated.
The Examiner leads with mother sleeps in fear of her son. A Cork mother who cannot get emergency respite for her 15-year-old autistic son locks her bedroom door each night due to fears over his obsession with knives and death. The HSE have apologised for the lack of respite care and are committed to exploring alternative supports.
Parents in line for €1,000 cut to college fees is the top story of the Daily Mail. Minister for Higher Education Simon Harris has indicated that the significant cost reduction will form part of a package to tackle the cost of living crisis in Budget 2024.
The Mirror goes with, I wish I'd thanked Sinead. The father of an Oma bomb victim, Michael Gallagher, has told of his sadness in not being able to thank singer Sinead O'Connor after she recorded a musical tribute of ABBA's hit Chiquitita for the 1998 bomb victims.
And staying with Sinead, The Sun leads with Sinead in movie talks when she died. Sinead O'Connor was in talks about her biopic and even had picked out actors such as Demi Moore and Saoirse Ronan to play her at different stages of her life.
The Star leads with Make Our Streets Safe or Quit. A leading inner city representative, Mannix Flynn, has called on the Justice Minister to end the violent crime wave in Dublin or prepare to resign. He believes the Gardaí are not being allowed to do their jobs because higher-ups are more interested in statistics.
And the Herald goes with teen charged in Temple Bar assault. A teenage boy has been arrested in connection with a serious assault of 3 UK tourists and a robbery in Temple Bar on Friday night. The tourists were hospitalised as a result of the incident.
What's the text number again? 089?
089 611 111.
Thank you, Alan.
There you go. Keep those texts coming in.
Yeah, this is the story of about the price of a pint. It's gone up from today. Diageo are increasing the price of stout and beer products by 4 cents from today. And that's just 6 months after a 12-cent hike in February. So the constant increase, well, the price of everything's gone up, isn't it? Jane texted, yet more penny pinching for us. The price of everything is rising and wages staying the same. This will just lead to more people drinking from home because we simply can't afford it. Alan was also, it's a one-man campaign, actually, I learned this morning.
I just want to find the cheapest pint in Ireland.
And that's
my campaign. Because we were saying in Temple Bar now, it's probably going to be €9 a pint.
Yes.
Where, like, a lot of tourists are coming in, and that will hit the tenner. It's going to hit the €10 mark. Of course it will hit the €10
And
mark.
actually, speaking of then of a €10 pint, Patricia texted in saying that the Gladstone Inn in Skerries, it's €5 for a pint of Guinness. So put that in your map now, Alan.
Gladstone Inn, OK, fine. And Adrian says €5 for a pint of Guinness, Smithwick's and Heineken in Amsby's Bar in Ballingarry in County Tipperary. Good on you guys, €5 for a pint.
Yeah, we'll have to visit all these places.
Where else?
Gareth says Bayview Hotel in Killybegs, $4.40 for a Guinness and $4.50 for. Is this turning into an ad for your local
No,
pub?
but look at
get them in.
Let's give them a shout out. So if you go to the Bayview Hotel in Killybegs, $4.40 for a pint of Guinness.
I know where I'm going after this.
That's good stuff.
I'm telling you. Straight away. We were also discussing earlier rewatching TV shows being good for your health. So scientists found that people experiencing anxiety find relief in watching their comfort shows, which I love. I feel validated by this because it's a huge habit of mine.
Which one is your comfort show?
I'd rather not say. No, it's all reality TV. It's all housewives. Women's
Housewives of, like,
Beverly
Hills,
New York, Atlanta, you name it, I've watched it. I just love women screaming at each other. It comforts me.
How does that comfort you? Would that not set you on edge?
But that's what it does. I go to sleep with the dulcet tones of New York women screaming in my ears.
Would you re-watch the women shouting at each other?
I'm on my 4th rewatch of New York.
Re-watch? OK, so you know exactly what happens in this reality show.
It's comforting. It's like the scientist said.
Right. I suppose watching other people's lives worse than yours is,
Thank you.
Or better in those cases, a lot of them, Jessie, I can quote every line in Friends. Some evenings I think about watching something new, but it's far more comforting to just watch an old episode of Friends.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Imagine every line, so they know exactly what's coming up.
Fiona, the US Office is my go-to. Oh, yes, excellent. Yeah, Arrested Development's another brilliant one as well to rewatch. Or 30 Rock is brilliant. The US Office is my go-to show when I'm feeling anxious. Never mind all this mindfulness nonsense. Just stick on a show. Well, it's a mindfulness exercise. Watching something you've watched before is an exercise in mindfulness. Just stick on a show that you love, and it immediately feels like a hug.
Yeah.
Like this show.
Like this. It's a big hug every morning from us all. 0896 111 111. Let us know the shows that make you comfortable and relaxed and less anxious. Ireland Day wouldn't make you anxious.
Absolutely. Well, it makes me anxious, but that's a different matter. They pay me, though. It's grand.
And they pay him well. Now, up next, All-Star Kildare keeper Mary Hull-Grain talks achieving a personal career highlight this weekend, and she has the cup outside to prove it. We'll see in a few minutes.
Thanks for coming back. Our next guest is an all-star winning GAA star who battled an addiction to prescription drugs and alcohol for years, but has come out the other end and has been sober for nearly 3 years.
Now she joins us now to discuss her road to recovery and her return yesterday, her triumphant return yesterday to Croke Park for the All-Ireland Intermediate Final. And please welcome Kildare footballer Mary Hull-Grain. Good morning to you and congratulations, because you're a winner. The cups are here. They won yesterday.
Yeah, we have her back in Kildare. It was great. It was great. It was just probably hasn't hit me yet because it was such a goal I had set and what we had set as a team this year. And we were just saying last night, it actually hasn't sunk in kind of yet, really.
So for you personally to be in Croke Park yesterday, sober, clean, from drugs, from everything, and to be able to lift that cup, what was that like personally for you? Yeah,
it was really humbling. When we were playing the semi-final, and I said, I have to get back to Croke Park because I wanted to experience it all. Mm-hmm. And then, in a way, yesterday, the semi-final was probably nearly a bigger game for me because I knew when we were going back to Croke Park, I was like, win, lose or draw, you've made it here. I had no pressure, just go out and just give it everything.
Huge congratulations, and thanks so much for being so open about it. You've been open about your addiction with prescription drugs and alcohol. Could you take us a little bit back to where it started?
My addiction took off definitely from when I was in the States, I always say, but when I look back and kind of the last couple of years, I probably realised my first probably addiction was sport, and I channeled my kind of addiction that way. And then I had a bad injury when I was over in the States. I got OxyContin prescribed to me, and it just took off from there. It turned into OxyContin, then it went to drink, then it went to prescription meds, and it it cycled out of control then from there.
So the painkillers that you were prescribed for the injury, you just wanted them, you needed them all the time.
Yeah, I always say like the noise in my head that was always there since I was a kid, it was gone. And it just silenced that, and the numbness I just chased then for the rest of my life, yeah.
But they're horrifically addictive. Like, I've watched the TV shows about OxyContin and the epidemic there was in the US about it. That's awful that they were prescribed.
Yeah, like the thing I learned from addiction, like you're just completely powerless. Like I thought, like because I had such a sporting background, that like the more I tried and the more I tried to fight something, I was like, I can beat this, I can do it. But it was actually the opposite effect. The more I actually stood back, and when I finally surrendered and said, look, I can't do this, I need help, that's when I actually started to get well.
And the drink really, and your addiction to drink only started when you came back to Ireland. Is that because the drink culture we have here?
Well, I know for me, I'm from a small village. I'm from Sallins in County Kildare. And like at the time, it was just, we used to go out on a Friday, Saturday, that turned into a Sunday. And then all of a sudden, like everyone else was heading home on a Monday, but I just couldn't. I had to keep the party going. It was in me.
Yeah.
But there was nothing really to do. It was just go out with the weekends. But for me, I just couldn't stop.
And were you doing the tablets and the drink at the same time, or did the drink take over then?
No, when I look back, like I was always mixing something. There was never enough. No matter what I had, it was never enough. It was always what's next or more.
And you mentioned there, Alan, the drinking culture in Ireland, but there's also a huge drinking culture within the GAA community, you know, and the ban during on season, and then people kind of go crazy in off season. Have you experienced that?
At certain teams, like this year with Kildare, like our management have been unbelievable. They've been like, look, I think with teams, and they're like, you can't do this, you can't, you're on a drinking ban. That just makes, I know for me, it just makes me want to do the opposite effect. Yeah. Whereas this year the girls were like, no, you go out and have a couple of stay together, and then we'll regroup then tomorrow and get it out of the system. So in a way, that's what worked for us, which was really good this year.
But like, people mightn't realise this. You were playing really well going through all this. How were you hiding it from teammates and from other people?
Like, when I look back in 2016, and like I was even thinking last night when we went to the banquet and this and that, like I had no one at my banquet in 2016. I had no one to give my tickets to. I was completely isolated from the world, like, and that was me. So, like, looking back, like, even if someone said something to me, I'd just completely dismiss you. Like, I was completely isolated in it. And people were almost, in a way, kind of afraid of me because I had that persona of, like, just don't come near me. I was just full of anger. So, like, looking back, it was just, even when I seen the highlights yesterday and stuff from 2016, the pain in my face, like, it was just, actually, I still feel it. I'm just like, I didn't realise how much of a ball of pain I was at the time.
And you, sir, you were just saying before we come on out, you couldn't even remember some of that.
No. No, genuinely, one of my kind of only memories really from 2016, I remember, is the second half of the game, just kind of looking up and just, stadium was packed. And I remember that year, like, I think there was 57,000 in the stadium coming to the end of the game. And I just remember, like, just not wanting to be there, saying, get me out of here. I just felt so alone, like.
And I know you said there that, I mean, that's a part of addiction, is pushing people away. But I know you did have one special companion during your journey, and that was your dog, Bailey, who was there for your highs and your lows. Tell us a little bit about Bailey.
He's great. You know, that dog saved my life. And I know people always say, like, I love that dog to bits. And I used to just always wake up and just say, like, who was going to mind him if I go? Because I was in such a dark place. But
there's Bailey there.
Bales taught me how to feel. Like, I couldn't feel love for anybody or towards myself. But when I looked at him, I welled up with emotion, and it was just pure love, like.
Yeah.
And Mary, tell us about then the road to recovery, and what was the darkest moment that made you, or how did you then decide, I need to get help here?
The day that I just didn't want to be here, finally, like, and it wasn't something that probably, like, it was there for years. Just didn't want to be here, wanted to take my own life. And it just came to the day I woke up and I was like, no, today's the day. And I decided I knew what I was doing. And
today is the day that you were going to take your own life.
Yeah, and then I met a man. I always speak about it because it was just such a profound moment in my recovery. I met a man walking on the Curragh. Didn't say a whole lot to me, but the small little social action like that I had with him, he just put his hand on me and just said, like, he said Bailey was lovely and that I hope you have a wonderful day. And I remember just feeling the smallest little bit of hope inside me, like, that day. The minute I left him, maybe 15 seconds, and was walking back up to my house, and I just said, God, I wonder if, like, I stopped drinking, will it fix my head? I actually just thought I had a mental problem. I didn't even think I had a drink problem or a drug problem at the time. And I just decided, you know, I'm going to make a phone call today and just see, can someone help me? I'll just try. But the smallest little bit of hope that I got that day was just, it was the pivotal point in my recovery, yeah.
And I know lots of people who are in recovery just say, and the famous saying, it's a day at a time. So you had this huge victory yesterday, and obviously then the celebrations. How did you cope with that yesterday and the celebrations after the win?
Like, I spoke on Friday, because I think on Friday I got kind of anxiety about the banquet Sunday. It wasn't about the game, because when I'm playing football, I'm in my element, like, but I got awful anxiety about the banquet, and I was chatting to someone that said, what are you doing today? We're training tonight. What are you doing after? I'm going for a walk with Bailey. Keep it in the day. And I knew if we won, what the protocol was. I knew if we lost, what the protocol I was going to do was. And going into last night, I had an escape route straight away. So if any stage kind of I felt uncomfortable, it was pick the phone up, get out of there, go up to the hotel room, go and ring someone that you know can talk you through it. And in that way, I knew I was safe, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's great. You had
And you got through it. Then you must. Then today, then you must be so proud of what you got through yesterday. Not only winning that, but then your own battle. Then you got through that last night.
Yeah, I know, because it's, you know, when I came into recovery first, I always said, like, I'm never not going to drink for the rest of my life. To me, that was such a thing. Like, how am I going to go my whole life without ever drinking again? And I always said, like, the two things I'd always struggle with is if we won in All-Ireland again, because it's a massive high.
Yeah.
But if it ever happened to Bailey because it was such a low. And then I got through it, like, it's just like that. I was like, do you know what? Whatever life throws at me, like, I know I'll get through clean and sober.
And so you were taking part in the Up the Hill Challenge with Jack and Jill. Why did you decide to get involved with that charity and become an ambassador there?
Oh, they're amazing. So this year the GPA have teamed up with the Jack and Jill Foundation, and which are supported by Abbott, but they're running their 9th annual Up the Hill Challenge, which is you basically pick a hill in your county, wherever you are, grab a few friends, you register online at jackandjill.ie, and you head up your hill and take some pictures and kind of stick it up on social media. But what Jack and Jill do, like, they're unbelievable, and what they do for children and families around the country is just incredible. And I know a couple of families that they have helped personally, and that's why when they asked me to be an ambassador, I was delighted.
And if you don't have a hill, go to somewhere else that has a hill. Go and find a hill.
It doesn't even have to be a hill. It'd just be a little bit of a slope or something. up your driveway.
Up your driveway, it has a slope. Take the picture.
Hashtag up the hill.
They do amazing
Hashtag
work.
Up the hill.
Yeah,
they're incredible.
Work,
and they're just the people. They're incredible people. Yeah. So I think if we can support them in any way, like, I really, really do encourage it.
Well, listen, it's always a pleasure chatting to you, because you are an inspiration. I know you've been an inspiration to so many people who are watching in this morning, and sportswomen. And it's an amazing, then, 45,000 people at Croke Park yesterday. It's just incredible.
Yeah, just to see ladies football like ladies sport in the country progress, especially even with the soccer team, is just incredible. Like, when I was growing up, like, you didn't have a role model that was female. There was no female sports on the TV, and now, like, you're there signing autographs, and like, we fans every year. This year with Kildare, our Kildare fans are incredible this year. I was only saying to the girls from 2016 yesterday, like, it was never like this.
Right.
Yeah.
And just to see it evolve has been incredible.
It has taken off, and it's great. And it is because of people like you. Mary Ulgrain, thank you so much for coming in and joining us this morning, and for bringing the cup with you.
Oh,
thanks so much. Brilliant stuff. Now, lots more still to come in Ireland. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Coffee every time. Tassimo sponsors cookery on Ireland AM.
Oh, there's a delicious smell in the kitchen, Ray. You smell lovely this morning.
Thanks, babes. Gina Daly's here with her 1-pan lemon pepper parmesan chicken, and it smells divine, Gina.
And it tastes lovely.
He's already getting stuck into breakfast this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Good to see you. How do we start? Where do we begin?
Okay, so what we're going to do is obviously just one pan, and for this dish you're going to use chicken, potatoes. Now, you can load it up with vegetables, but just for the moment I'm just going to do it like this.
Okay.
Now, with the potatoes, I know you're saying in one pot you're going to have to boil your potatoes. I use a bag of baby potatoes that you stick in the microwave.
Oh, cheese.
Yeah.
No, I actually think they're lovely.
5 minutes.
They're very handy.
They're very handy.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them around in a while. I used to see them all the time.
Oh, you get them everywhere. All the shops have them at the moment. So I have these already kind of microwaved. So what I'm going to do with them is I'm just, at the back of a knife, I'm just going to smash them down. So they're just going to give a little bit of crispiness when you throw them in the pan. And then I'll do the rest of them in a second. So for the chicken, I use lemon pepper. I talked about this the last time. So this is like my go-to seasoning for all my...
You ever heard of lemon pepper?
I've heard of pepper and I heard of lemon, but I haven't heard of lemon pepper.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just a really good seasoning for like chicken, for beef, for fish, for anything really. And it gives
Can
a
I
nice
see
thing.
it?
Yeah. I used to work in a chipper years ago when I was a teenager in Lucan. It was called, they called it Luigi's.
Right.
And that was his secret ingredient for his southern fried chicken. And he had the best southern fried chicken. So I mixed that with him with flour.
Now, Luigi, now we know. Now we know. Is Luigi still there?
The chipper's still there. I don't know about Luigi and Kevin.
He's not going to be impressed with
I know, exactly.
Stealing all the
Secret ingredient given away.
Is it just this one? Like, so this is Cape Herb and Spice.
No,
Is it
there's
just
a
this
you can
brand?
get a few different brands. So that one, it's good value. You can get it in like bags, like Mr. Price and places like that sell it. But if you can't get your hands on lemon pepper, just use salt, black pepper.
I love that you go to Mr. Price for your lemons.
They do great stuff.
Grand little bits.
So in the pan, we're just going to sear off some chicken. I'm going to take my lemon pepper back.
you need
Don't
the pan.
steal that off me. So a good seasoning of the lemon pepper. And we're just going to give this a few minutes on each side, just to brown it off. And my induction.
The sauce, the sauce is, what are we making with the sauce?
So with the sauce, it's a very simple sauce. So it's double cream, it's chicken stock, which I have here, and parmesan. I use garlic granules rather than fresh garlic. I just always have it in the press. It's just very handy for me.
Yep, dead easy.
You can season it with salt and pepper if you like. Now, as I said, if you want to add a few extra layers of flavour, you can put in some leeks, some mushrooms, and it just gives it a nice kind of extra flavour. But that, for us, that's my kids kind of pick the vegetables and stuff out. So
yeah, same, very same.
But could you not hide the vegetables
you
in
can.
that, though?
Do you know, sometimes
I blitz them maybe, or could you? Or,
I grate vegetables into my dishes for the kids, so broccoli and leeks and stuff like that. And sometimes I freeze them and kind of give them a nice little grate in, and they don't see it, the carrots especially. So sear your chicken. Now, don't worry about it like this, because this is going to go into the oven as well for about 25 minutes.
So it's getting a bit of colour on the outside then, is it?
All you're going to do is you're going to push your potatoes into the pan, as many as you want. You're just going to get a bit of colour on them. So I'm going to throw them all in really quickly.
And these are the microwavable ones.
These are the micro ones.
I know you're doing that, but you could just boil up a few as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Would you just parboil them and then...
Parboil them in a pot,
yeah.
just slice them up, just cut them in half, and then on the back of a knife, just crush them down like that, so it kind of makes them quicker to cook, and it gives them a really nice crispiness as well. You can season them with a bit of salt.
Okay.
And then what we're going to do is we're just going to add in some stock. So those potatoes are going to get nice and crispy on the bottom when you have a bit more time just to kind of give it a
like little
go.
roasties or whatever.
So you're just going to add in your stock.
I love when you hear the sizzle. And how long do you cook that for then, like that?
You're going to let it bubble up just for about 5 or 10 minutes on the pan. So you're going to add in your cream.
So this is where all the sauce is coming.
This is where all the loveliness
is that
comes
just
from.
full fat cream?
I use full fat cream, and I like it because it doesn't split. Like I used to use kind of low fat, or and it tend to kind of go curdly. Which give me the ick.
How much cream are you putting in there?
So I put in 200 mils of cream and 300 mils of stock, and then I have 70 grams of parmesan, which you just literally throw all over the top.
The smelly cheese, it's gorgeous.
It's beautiful. And then the garlic powder or garlic granules.
So you could throw in the leek there at that stage, couldn't you, as well?
You could, you can. The leek, as I said, there's a bit of leek in that one. I shred it up really, really fine. It just gives it an extra layer of flavour.
You need a little leek at the start of the morning, Ellen.
We always do, especially at my age.
Yeah, he's up out of the bed all night.
So that you put that for about 5 minutes, and then does that go into the oven?
Yeah, so what we're going to do here is we're just going to let that bubble up for a minute. It might take a couple of minutes on the induction hob. And when that's done, you're going to see the way your parmesan is on the top here. When you pop that in the oven, that's going to go really, really crispy. Your potatoes are going to go really brown like they did there.
Lovely.
And the parmesan just kind of gives it a really nice texture and flavour to it as well.
You don't need to thicken it or do any sort of thickening?
No, that will thicken up. The double cream will thicken up with the parmesan. So you might find that it's actually a little bit too thick. So at this stage, you'll kind of know, you'll get an idea. So you can add in a bit more chicken stock.
Or chicken stock.
Or if you want to add in water as well, that's absolutely fine. But you can see it's starting to bubble up there.
And then how long does it go into the oven for?
I usually put it in for about 35, 40 minutes, just until it's really golden. Now, it's to
It's
let
going to
the
be
chicken,
well cooked by then, wouldn't it?
but it stays really moist because you're cooking it in the
Oh,
sauce.
in the sauce, yeah.
And the potatoes then absorb all the flavours of the cream and the sauce, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. Now,
Maybe we shouldn't have started eating because we have to show what it looks like now.
It's nearly gone. I've horsed into it already.
Can we get a look at that? So after 35 minutes, it comes out.
It goes a really nice kind of a yellowy colour. As I said, the potatoes go nice and brown and golden. And what you can do at this stage is flip your chicken over. So it kind of almost poaches your chicken.
Yeah.
Or as I say, boil it. Nobody likes me saying
And like
boil.
you say, it's a good base then for whatever else you want to throw in.
Absolutely. And what you can do as well is when it's actually cooked, what my kids like is to get 2 forks, shred up the chicken into the pan, and you can put it. This is great for the next day as well. So it does really well in the fridge or in the freezer, so you can keep it as a batch
But if you
cook.
shredded up all that chicken, you could feed probably about 6 people.
Absolutely. From 3 chicken breasts.
Yeah, from 3 chicken breasts.
Yeah.
Because and add the mushrooms in and like
And
bump
bulk it
out,
up.
bulk it
so
up.
that's adding the mushrooms and the leek is just going to bulk it up and make it stretch a little bit longer. But
beautiful. It's delicious, Gina. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Gina.
Absolutely
Gorgeous.
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 Yeah, fab.
And now coming up, Deric's living his Baywatch fantasy alongside some volleyball virtuosos.
Yeah, he'll be tackling seaside sports right after the break. Come back to us. Lovely.
Perfect coffee every time. Tassimo sponsors cookery on Ireland AM.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, Deric Hasselhoff has been gallivanting in Greystones all morning.
Deric Hasselhoff and our very own, he's our sporty spice, is taking part in beach volleyball. What's one wearing, I wonder?
Deric, oh, there he is. He's looking fabulous.
Yes,
no
guys, we're living our best sporting life, Baywatch life down here in Greystones in County Wicklow. Aisling Hubbard is with us now from Wicklow Sports Partnership. Aisling, tell us what's happening.
Hi, Deric. Yes, so this is part of a national initiative called Her Outdoors Week. So we're highlighting the outdoors and encouraging women and girls to get involved in an outdoor recreation activity somewhere in the country or the county this week.
Now, tell us, in terms of sports, not only volleyball, there's a whole heap of stuff happening.
Yeah, so we've loads of stuff going on. So beach volleyball, as you say, here and down in British. We've sea swimming happening. We have gliding happening in West Wicklow. We've rowing, kayaking, sailing. There's definitely something for everybody to try out, and it's a real taster session kind of thing.
And not only that, but you have a lot of stuff happening. In fact, you have a roller disco going on later on this evening.
Yes, so on the harbour in Greystones this evening, so everybody can come down. We've roller disco and then a disco yoga following that afterwards. So it should be really loads of fun.
Tell us about the initiative itself. Where did it kick off?
So the idea of this, it's a Sport Ireland initiative, so there's something happening in all of the counties in the country. The idea of it is to showcase the outdoors, and we're really lucky here in Wicklow that our outdoor landscape is fantastic and really lends to this. So the idea is to get women involved in it, so to encourage women in a safe space to try out a totally new sport or activity, a walk and talk, any of those kind of groups. So this is the 3rd year of it, and it's been such a success.
And I suppose you're blessed here. Like, look at the setting here this morning. Blessed here in County Wicklow, the Garden of Ireland.
I know, 100%. And our sea swimmers are just finished. I think they're gone for a coffee. So, yeah, it's really, really nice.
Tell us then about, obviously, beach volleyball. It's grown in popularity.
Yeah, it has. Volleyball Ireland are putting a huge amount of work into it. There's 10,000 people taking part in volleyball throughout the country. So we're replacing the nets here in Greystones shortly, and we're installing permanent nets down in British Bay as well. So people will be able just to go down, bring a ball with them and use the nets for free.
And enjoy the beach itself.
Yeah.
Nora, pop over here to me. Oh, there she is. Oh, look at that. Perfect timing on TV, Nora. Yeah, absolutely. Nora, you actually started this idea off back in 2019.
Yeah, look, we have a whole policy in Sport Ireland on women in sport, and we have a fantastic outdoors unit. And they kind of came to me and said, look, we want to do something to promote more women to be active in the outdoors. So kind of floated the idea of, like, you know, when you run campaigns and week-long opportunities for women to try new events, new activities, then it can really get some visibility and promotion, and just growing year on year. I think we're up to about 350 odd events now this year for this week, and it's just fantastic.
Onwards and upwards from there. And where are we then in terms of men participation?
So there's about a 4% gap between male-female participation. It's got participation gradient. Now look, that's come down from 16% difference back in 2007. So it really has been decreasing year on year.
So the gap is narrowing.
Definitely, yeah. And we have a whole policy, like as mentioned, this policy, it's not just about participation, but it's really important that we look at the number of women who are coaching, officiating, in leadership roles, in governance, on boards of national governing bodies, local sports partnerships, etc. So really
women
everything.
are having a glorious moment in sport right now. You look at the football at the weekend, up the Dubs, with the Camogie the weekend before that, and then of course the girls in Green Down Under in Australia just back. Like a great time for women in sport.
It really is. Look, you know, myself, I think Aisling as well, we were on Croke Park yesterday and last week too, and it's fantastic to see obviously the team's doing so well. Now I think the whole thing is that young girls can see women who are professional athletes, and that's what it's all about. And the more we can do that and the more visibility we can bring to women's sport, the better.
And I think you hit the nail on the head. It's all about visibility, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know, I think the team down in Australia did fantastic. Obviously they'd still like to be playing, but you know, I just think it sets up that platform for them to push on now with other tournaments, because we want to see teams playing in major tournaments. But again, this here, what we're doing during her Outdoors Week, it's all about grassroots, it's all about participation, and really more importantly it's about giving women and girls the opportunity to try sports that they never thought they could have tried before or they didn't know existed on their doorstep.
By the way, ex-rugby union player, boys in green, how we set for the World Cup?
Oh look, yeah, hopefully we'll do well, hey? Isn't that what it's all about? I think we'll see now with these warm-ups, but I'm confident now they'll do pretty well.
They'll do pretty well. Right, we're going to hit a couple of balls here. Off we go. Do you want to give us a little bit of a running commentary there, Aisling?
OK, Deric, I think you're going across to Lena.
Right, here's the serve, here's the serve.
Here we go, you're ready now. 3, 2, 1, up we go.
And back.
Up we go. Off we go. Next one. Where can we find out more online, by the way?
OK, so there's more online is Active Wicklow on social media, and then for the national events, Sport Ireland website in the outdoors section.
OK, so lots happening right around the country. And by the way, guys, look, I even have my pink Speedos.
Swimming it in.
They're for swimming later on. Back to you guys in studio. That was too much.
Yes, that was too much. We didn't need to see that.
I thought it was just
at
enough.
5 to 9 on a Monday morning.
The Garda Síochána in Greystone's making the way to the beach at the moment. He's agile as well, isn't he? He's like a cat.
Oh, I tell you, our Deric will get up to anything. Now, coming up in the final hour, Goss.ie's Ali Ryan will be dishing the latest showbiz stories and secrets.
Plus, he's an absolute skit. Comedian Peter McGann will be stopping by for a chat.
And we're warming up your wardrobe with some transitional autumn styles. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a few.
Nice to hear those words, isn't it? A dry and a settled morning. Just, even for the morning. To be dry and settled, we'll stick with that one. Now, we were talking about some items we were covering earlier on the show, and scientists have found that watching older, familiar shows on TV actually relaxes you, helps with the anxiety. So lots of texts have been coming in, and Annette said, I love watching old musicals. It always makes me feel so much better and also helps me miss people who have passed. It reminds me of my parents because they always used to watch and love old musicals. So sitting at home just watching an old musical, love it.
Yeah, I like that too. Liz says, I agree with Alan, as do we all. The best TV reruns is The Golden Girls. I'm always amazed at how they got away with some of their sayings and jokes.
Some of it you couldn't get away with now, what they said and did. But like when you look at back at Benny Hill and all those shows from years ago, that couldn't go
Instantly cancelable, yeah.
Yeah, cancelable now. You couldn't do it.
So much of it as well, they can't run the repeats of it. Hannah says, I find myself rewatching Love Hate every few months. I don't know what it is about it, but it's comfort for sure. Love Hate
is comfort.
Oh my God.
That's an odd one.
Well,
that's an odd one.
It is a peculiar one. My wife refuses to watch it. Yeah, because
it's brilliant, but it's a bit like Kin. Like, that's like watching Kin again. Like, you're at the edge of your seat going, my God, someone's going to be murdered any minute.
Yeah. Like, I suppose when you know, if you're watching it back, you know who's going to get killed.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're like, this is grand now. I know who's
and who isn't. I'd watch Kin again.
Would you? I'd watch Kin again. Yeah, no, I would.
Great actors. So then we were talking about cyberchondria. Cyberchondria is a term given for someone who develops extreme unwarranted anxiety by using the internet to search for medical information. Jane texted in saying she's guilty as charged. She just needed to get a niggle in her throat, and she's straight onto Dr. Google, convinced she's throat cancer. She knows it's not right, but she can't resist checking out the symptoms.
Yeah, straight.
Right.
I don't. Well, I have a look, but I wouldn't be diagnosing myself. But I have two friends who are the second. A second anything's wrong, straight onto Google, and it's always the worst case scenario. It's never like, oh, it's a strep throat or whatever. Oh no, I'm dying now.
But you see, I don't do it because I'm afraid I'd underdiagnose myself, and it sort of said you may have this, and I go, well, that's not too bad. I won't go to the doctor then, and there could be something.
It could be something serious. Well, go to the doctor. I think isn't that the message? Stay off Google and go to check with a medical professional.
The thing we were talking about earlier on. People go on to Dr. Google because €65 maybe to go and see the doctor. They don't have that, whatever, and then they go, oh yeah, maybe it's not too bad. So it's just weird. But yeah, you're looking at it. Olivia says, I'm so embarrassed to show anyone my internet history with the amount of ailments I've Googled, forever convincing myself I've got the worst.
I want to see Olivia's Google history. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, take a screen grab and send it in to us.
OK, keep those texts coming in to us. 0896 111 111. Now, coming up after the break, Ali Ryan brings us the hottest Hollywood gossip. Stay with us for that.
Hello, Accorda. Welcome back. We're joined by Ali Ryan to discuss the weekend's showbiz stories.
Yes, from Lizzo's lawsuit to Instagram's top earners, Ali's here with all the goss. Good morning to Ali.
Good morning.
Now, we're going to start with these alleged allegations against Lizzo, because when they were brought up last week, when we heard them, we were going, not Lizzo, because she's like for herself to be out there as a proud
body positive
woman, and then we're hearing all these fat shaming stories and all this. It's like, it's unreal.
She's such an advocate. This is probably the worst allegation she could ever face.
Yes.
But yeah, I feel like, if something ever happened with Tom Hanks, I'd be devastated. Yeah. It feels like that level where you're like, no, I thought she was really nice.
The people's princess kind of thing.
Yeah, and I always say, like, we have to be very careful when we hear rumours or allegations. Sometimes people want their 15 minutes of fame. It's really hard to believe people straight away. But there's multiple people now. About 4 of them sat down, did a big interview with Good Morning America, and went into detail over some of the allegations.
So people who don't know about this, tell us what the allegations are.
So number one, I suppose the worst one is that a lot of dancers and people that work there are saying that she's fat phobic and that she was shaming the dancers and people on the team, not just her, but some of the senior team members, head dancers, stuff like that. Secondly, there's a lot of kind of sexual uncomfortableness.
They went to a show in Amsterdam or somewhere like this.
Now, look, people go to Amsterdam and have fun, but there's a lot of accusations that Lizzo and her team kind of forcefully made her dancers touch women in the middle of a sex show, things like that. But also that there was a lot of discussions around sexuality and sex that made a lot of women uncomfortable. And that one of the head dancers is massively Christian, was like forcing her religious beliefs. So there's just a lot of, every allegation is very odd, but very serious. Yeah. And a lot of women are coming out now saying that they're basically traumatized by what has happened. And every week it seems more and more people are interested in talking. The sad thing about it is it's very much affected Lizzo's career already. I think overnight one of Beyonce's songs, she took Lizzo's name out
during her concerts.
Less than 24 hours later, and now there's rumours that she's been dropped from any talks for the Super Bowl halftime show. So, it's like the biggest thing in someone's music career. So to even have gotten to the point where they were on the final talks is a huge deal, and now they're just like, no. So obviously, if there's a change and suddenly allegations are dropped or there's a big explanation, because Lizzo's really only given one statement, maybe we could see things turn around, but I don't know, this feels like a bit of a cancellation to me.
And her personal life also being affected, we believe?
Yes, and also the story with how her and her boyfriend got together is also doing the rounds on TikTok too. So there's lots of questions about how they got together. So a lot of this centres around this dance show called Big Girls, where they were trying to get dancers to join your team. And there's rumours that maybe one of the dancers on the team was in a relationship with him before she got in a relationship with him. There's all these he said, she said, though, so we don't actually know. But yes, apparently now the boyfriend's unfollowed her on Instagram.
Goodness.
Yes.
But we don't know what's happening there.
We don't know. And it could be a glitch on Instagram. Everything could be fine. But she's talked openly about him a lot of times and said, this is the love of my life. I'll be with him forever. So think we all need to take a minute, take a step back. You know, whenever there's a big scandal, it seems like the biggest thing and the worst thing. Next week we could be talking about something else. So let's just see what happens.
And look, we all unfollow someone in the heat of the moment, don't we?
Bit of an argument.
No, do you?
No.
Blocked, unblocked, block, love and all blocked.
So moving on. So the next story is something that I've been following so closely because I think it is fascinating, morbidly fascinating.
Yes.
So Lil Tay is a viral media sensation.
I'd love to tell you I know who she is because I don't.
Oh, really?
But she's well known for doing very kind of intense Instagram posts like, I'm rich, you're poor, get over it sort of thing.
Yes.
So she's very flash on social media, and because of that has gained a lot of controversy online, and that kind of grew her following. So she's always doing very controversial things. And then last week there was a report from a family member that she had died.
But it went down on her verified
Instagram account.
A statement.
So somebody had hacked it, or she put it up for
This is what
publicity?
she's saying now. I mean, I'd be shocked if this isn't a publicity stunt, to be honest. She's saying someone took my account. Like, there's so many people that know about her now that had never heard about her.
Yeah,
You
but
should
we're
see-
talking about
We're
her
talking
now.
about her. You should see some of the pictures on her social media, though. It's like her with the big wad of cash pretending to be on the phone and stuff. It's so ridiculous and over the top. But I would say she's massed even more followers now. So I'm interested to see what the explanation is going to be. So far, she said a third party. She doesn't know what happened. She's very much alive. The post had also said that her brother had died. They're both alive.
Just threw it in
Is
there.
she only 16?
Yeah, she's really young.
When did she become famous?
I think it was only in the last 2 years. She's
Right.
really blown up. But death hoax are becoming very popular. Like, celebrities are constantly having to come out and say, I'm alive. But I think this is the first time it came from their own account.
But isn't it worrying then that in terms of verifying these stories to report on,
Yes.
if you can't trust a verified Instagram account,
Yeah, it's your verified Instagram account.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
it's very strange. And I think at the time, a lot of reporters tried to get in contact with the family and they didn't hear back. And obviously you think, look, they're mourning, they're busy.
Yeah.
So I don't think anyone thought it was a hoax. But yes, at least she's cleared that up now. She's alive.
It's a crazy
She'll
one,
come up
isn't
with
it?
some more Instagram posts.
16-year-old.
Yeah.
Wow, God. When she starts 14-year-old shouldn't
Yeah.
be doing that.
But
That
you know what?
shouldn't be
They're
their-
getting younger
their
and younger,
job.
especially YouTube stars as well. Some of them are under the age of 12 and they're making millions.
Okay, speaking of Instagram, the top
Yes.
earners, we love this. So the 3 top earners are
So, Cristiano Ronaldo. Obviously. Now, this is
600 million followers.
600 million. Yeah, these are the top earners now on Instagram, right? So these
Yeah.
are who are charging the most on Instagram. Then we have Lionel Messi. So all the athletes at the
Yeah,
top.
the footballers.
Yeah, but see,
Ronaldo
their-
and Messi.
I feel like their deals begin at 10 million. Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
when they work with the brand, it's such a huge deal. But we do have a few pop stars in there that I'm going to mention. So we have Selena Gomez. She charges 2.5 million for a post. Kylie Jenner charges 2.3 million. Kim Kardashian only charges 2.1. So
That's
Kylie
whatever.
gets a
That's a
little bit more
bargain.
money in there, and Khloe Kardashian's in there as well at 1.8. But Beyonce charges 1.8 million for Instagram. Does she need to post an Instagram for income?
No.
No.
That's the thing.
But at the same time, if her people said, look at this perfume brand, want you to...
She's like,
or she
"Grant."
probably has her own perfume
She
brand.
does.
But something like that.
Heat, I think it's called.
and then,
Yeah.
It's
but
actually
then
one of the
just
most-
post it up. Yeah, 1.8 million. That
But
all adds
there's
up.
some interesting people like Dwayne Johnson.
The Rock. But you see, The Rock's so popular.
Yeah.
I love The Rock. I'd
do
watch
love him as
anything
well.
he's in.
Yeah.
Because he's really good. But Ronaldo gets 3.23
Yeah.
million.
Yeah.
Listen to this, guys. 3.23 million for every post. This is just a post on Instagram.
Just a post at Ireland AM. That's how much it's going to cost you, lads.
Okay, tell me, how much do you charge to put a post up?
Oh, I can't say, but it's 10 figures. 10
Okay,
figures, yeah.
very quickly, let's talk about, I don't know this one either, and you know her well.
I don't know how you don't know
Emily
Emily
Ratajkowski.
Ratajkowski.
Yes.
Yeah, she's actually become kind of more of an Instagram star, model, feminine activist
Yes,
now.
she has, yeah.
But she was well known for being in Blurred Lines, a very, very famous Robin Thicke song years ago. But she basically has Irish connections, which she's kind of mentioned before, but she's actually here all the time. It's very like having Sarah Jessica Parker here. You're like, sorry,
Yeah.
what? I actually interviewed Emily at one of the Oscars parties years ago, and I was like, oh, have you ever kissed the Blarney Stone? As a joke. She was like, yes, I have. I was like,
the Blarney
right,
Stone.
okay, well, you and Emily basically kissed.
You kissed the Barney Stone.
Best day of my life, though. Yeah, of course I have. You know her actual full name? Her actual full name is Emily O'Hara Reditape. I'm not even joking. It's the most random name
She's one of
ever. So
us.
she's Irish through
So
and
she's
through.
here, she's just posting pictures of
Yes.
her home down in Bantry
And you know
because her
what?
father's from there.
I think, yeah,
Our
her
grandfather.
grandparents came from here. And the thing is, like, it might seem like a random story, but every time a celebrity comes here and does this, if it's Matt Damon in Docky or it's, you know, someone swimming in the Irish Sea, it brings people over here. So, like, I love to see
Well, that's
celebrities
true.
being here, being like, Ireland's amazing, kissing the Barney. So, like, Sarah Jessica Parker, when she was here, all the brands she tagged.
Super Value.
Just
She
going
was
around the
obsessed with
shops.
Super Value.
Like, I would say that changed some people's lives that weekend. So I love seeing people
Totally.
here and go kiss the Barney Stone.
Ali, thank you very much. You don't need to kiss the Barney Stone, dear. Thank you very much for that. Now, on the way, we've got the perfect pieces to take you through the change in the seasons. We'll see you after this quick break.
Falter Rash, and thanks for staying with us. Now, autumn is on the horizon. I think we can feel it out in the patio here today. And switching your summer wardrobe out can be a lot of hassle.
Now, but luckily, Mandy Marr is here to help us. Good morning to
Good
Mandy.
morning to you both.
So
Good
it's
morning.
a transition period, and we are seeing all the shops. They're getting rid of all the summer stuff, and the autumn-winter stuff is coming in.
Absolutely, it sure is. And as you said, Alan, we're still in kind of a funny stage at the moment with fashion because really it's kind of, we're getting up in the mornings and even wondering what should we even be still wearing at the moment. But it is very much transitional between your summer going into autumn. But we also have some beautiful autumn pieces as well.
Okay, we're going to start here with Sarah.
Starting with Sarah, and this full look is from the House of Logo, a wonderful boutique in Naas. And this is definitely something you could wear now and bring it through for right through for autumn. And it's in the winter whites, and as you can see, really it's kind of more of a creamy colours. Starting with this beautiful blouse. I'm a big fan of a white blouse. Often I get asked as a stylist, what do you recommend as wardrobe staples? A white blouse, every woman knows you should have definitely in your wardrobe. But this is a little bit of a twist, as you can see here, with the beautiful
Lots
lace
of detail on it, and on the sleeve as well.
It absolutely, and it's kind of giving like that nearly embroidered look, nearly like an old-fashioned look, I suppose.
Kind of boho-y
it's
as well. I love
beautiful,
it.
absolutely, and it's just very elegant, very smart. And as you see, then we just paired it up then with this gorgeous little changes to add a little bit of colour.
It's actually quite a big statement piece.
It is, yeah, it absolutely is. Now, the chain itself is actually from Design House in Barna in Galway, and it's actually a designer, an Irish designer as well. Corona's an Irish label. But again, like that, it's quite a heavy piece, and it's beautiful, but the quality is incredible in it.
Yeah. I love a fitted pair of trousers like this. They're lovely.
Me too, Alan, and I love them too. And I love actually, even with that kind of slightly flare leg without being over wide. But again, they're high-waisted, which they're quite flattering as well. And again, you can see they are in that autumn-winter white. And it's beautiful. I always feel with cream trousers as well, it's something you'll never go wrong with. You'd agree, Shifa, it's just something you'll always have, and you'll wear time and time again, no matter what you have in your wardrobe to match.
And I suppose if you put a darker jacket over that, then it brings you into the autumn-winter.
It sure does, Alan, absolutely. It's a piece like this, as I said, it's ideal going from now right through.
And the bag?
And then we just teamed up with a very simple little beige bag. We kept it very muted, as you can see, but not adding actually much colour with this outfit. But again, like that, simple little bag. It has a strap. You could take away the strap, obviously, if you wanted to. So it's up to yourself, really, or you could wear it crossbody indeed as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Sarah. That's lovely. Christina's in now.
So Christina
the lovely
is in.
top.
Isn't this beautiful?
Yes.
And again, we've actually stayed quite safe, I suppose, really. But I'm a big fan of cream anyway. I love it. Isn't this top beautiful?
Yeah.
It's a silk top. It is worn as it's worn. You could probably, if you wanted to tuck in the front of that, but I didn't want to. I left it as it is. I think it'd actually ruin it, actually, if you did. I just think it needs to be, the design is to wear it quite loose. It's a beautiful silk. It has a little long sleeve, obviously, as you can see, but it has a little cuff button detail then as well here on the cuff. But again, just, it does what it does, I think.
I love the double length of it, the short at the front.
The high-low, and it works
that.
well. And in particular, especially for what's great with something like this, is that it actually works, particularly if you have a tummy area. It's great for covering a multitude too, if you wanted to.
What kind of material, this stretch material, is in this skirt here?
It's actually it's a wool skirt.
It's a wool skirt.
So it is wool. It's quite fitted, as you can obviously see, but it's again like that. It's light, Alan, so it's not over heavy, which is what I also like. So it's quite comfortable to wear. It has little slits, as you can see here. So again, it's adding a little bit of sexiness to it, as I do say, without being over showing
it's
of
a
too much
lovely
leg
outfit.
either.
And the bag?
And then again, like that, just went with a simple black leather bag. You could play with so many colours with an outfit like this, but I think this look would be great for the office. Pop in your laptop and things into the bag, and off you go.
Yeah, I love that. I love the contrast of the two materials. You know, the different textures.
It doesn't work as well.
Yeah,
and I'm loving this.
I
And
love
the
it.
full look is from the House of Logo in Naas. or indeed online.
Very nice. Thank you very much, Christina.
Thanks, Christina.
And Sarah is back. Sarah's here now.
Sarah, we did see this earlier on, Alan, and this is from the Design House in Barna, a wonderful boutique back in Galway. But again, this is definitely showcasing more of your autumn, really.
Coming into the autumn winter.
And you can
the coat. We always need a good coat because a statement coat, yeah.
You sure do, and it's definitely, people always say about coats, I always say invest in a good coat. It is more expensive, you can see that, but in saying that, you'd know it when you feel the quality of that coat. It's incredible wool coat. It's beautiful. But again, like that, what I like about a coat personally anyway is that it's not too heavy to wear, which I think is very, very important. And you can see actually, Sarah, I'm going to get you actually pop up the collar on that.
There's a different colour.
Exactly, Alan, and it's actually picking up on the rust with what we've actually teamed with the rest of this outfit. This is just fabulous.
Yeah.
I think walking in with the collar up like that, Sarah, you're definitely making a statement in something like this. It gives that whole I'm in the room vibe, I think, anyway.
Like it is pricey enough, but the thing about a coat like that is you'll have it for years.
Absolutely, you sure will, Alan. And it is an investment piece. Coats are pieces that you never get rid of. They're pieces you'll always keep in your wardrobe.
The shirt?
The shirt then is a simple cotton blouse, and again, as you can see, lots of prints going on, but these are the colours you're going to be seeing quite a lot of. Rust is making a massive comeback for autumn winter, and again, it has lots of the prints, and it has the blue print matching the coat as well, obviously, in it, little flower print. And then what about these? We're actually having great fun with these. Yeah. The 70s vibe of flare.
Are they coming back?
They're coming back. Get ready for them. Flares are making a huge impact.
Flared cords.
Absolutely, flare cords. And you know what? You either love them or you hate them, I think. There's kind of like, it's like the Marmite kind of thing. You either love it or hate it. And that's exactly what these trousers does, but I'm loving them. Again, they're high-waisted, very comfortable. Does what it does, but I'm loving in particular the coat to bring the whole look together.
Yes, this is definitely autumnal. Those trousers especially scream autumn to me.
It sure is, absolutely.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Very nice. And finally, Sarah Mack's with us.
And Sarah, after our fast change, and we're staying with the Design House boutique.
It's a gorgeous coat. I love a camel coat.
Oh, Alan, so do I. I just think, again, it's like your wardrobe staples going from season to season, but a good camel coat is a must in any wardrobe. It really, really is. This is just absolutely beautiful. It's classy, it's elegant, the quality is phenomenal on it, and it's really beautiful.
And underneath then you have the cardigan. It's a top and a cardigan.
Yeah,
is it a set?
It is indeed. It's actually a twin set. Yeah, it is. It's actually a twin set. Which again, like that, it's just, as you see, we kept it very creams this morning, I suppose. But again, like that, it just works. It's simple. Need very little with it, but you could easily pop with this cardigan with lots of other pieces. You could even put it on with like the blouse that we had on earlier if you wanted to as well. Yeah. And we didn't go with any jewellery with this either. Again, like that, we wanted to keep the whole look very muted this morning.
Yeah, well, the high neck, you wouldn't really need anything with it. It's a gorgeous high neck.
Exactly, it actually works perfectly, doesn't it, with it?
Fabulous. And you went for cords again with this one?
Yes, indeed. We went with a different cord this time.
Are they cords?
They are cords, but it's a really different,
subtle,
way more subtle cord. And again, like that, it has that kind of little turn up on the end. Has the pocket detail. It is high-waisted as well, but the cord is again another big trend that's going to come through for autumn winter as well.
There we go.
And does the top, does the cardigan come off? Is it a short sleeve?
It is, yeah. It's a short sleeve top, yes.
Okay, fabulous. So it really is from summer to autumn.
It completely is. You could wear it from now, and you definitely wear it from now. And if you're going through like myself, what am I going to put on me? But anyway, we're sorted from the next couple of months anyway.
Mandy, it's always a pleasure. Thanks so much
Alan,
for joining us this morning.
Up next, he's a bundle of laughs, and his viral voice note skit left people in stitches. We'll be witnessing Peter McGann's killer comedy after the break. Welcome back. Our next guest is best known for his online sketches that are taking over on social media.
Peter McGann is here to talk about his hilarious online presence, as well as his upcoming tour dates. But first, let's take a look at one of Peter's best sketches that recently went viral. Take a look.
If you keep the tea bag in or the tea bag out, leave us a voice note and let us know, and we'll read the best ones out on air.
How are you, lads? This is Cormac here from Gorey. I leave my tea bag in. But I used to go out this young one years ago when I was in Dublin for college. She's from Mayo. She used to put 2 tea bags in. She'd leave one in and one out. She'd take one out when she puts the water in then, and so she'd have a doubly strong, she said. Mairead was her name. Mairead. Jeez, I haven't thought about her in ages. Just when you... when you start talking about the tea bags, and radio just came back to me all of a sudden. But look, life moves on. I'm with a great girl now, married for a few years. Known her for years, known her since primary school. We've got a few kids together now, so I wouldn't trade it for the world. All worked out, you know, life takes its toll. Our path to me, it's meant to be going, you know, so all good there. Probably couldn't tell you my wife takes her tea.
Now here's Coldplay. Peter McGann, thank you so much for joining us. That's
Cheers, thanks, man.
It's hilarious. Do you like watching your own stuff? Like, we're all sitting here laughing at it. Do you like watching your own stuff back?
It is. It's weird now because you're like, are you lying now with the laughing just to make me feel better, or are you on air now?
We're not that good at actors, I promise.
Okay, then I'll take that. But no, it's nice. Like, it's like surreal. It's like it's not going to happen.
That one went viral. Can you like? Do you tweak the algorithm? Do you play with the algorithm to try and make certain ones go bigger than other ones?
I couldn't play with it less. I swear. I know it probably sounds like a lie, but that one I nearly scrapped and reshot it. I liked the concept, but I was like, I don't know, did I nail that one? And I showed it to my wife, showed it to my brothers, showed it to a mate of mine, Tony Catwell, who is like a good gauge for these things. And everyone, because I was coming to them in the negative, they were kind of like worrying about it or wondering about it themselves. So it took me a week to put it out.
Really?
So.
And had you planned this one for long before you executed it, let's say, and posted it?
Yeah, I had it for a while. My brother told me about a similar thing on the radio. Not what your mum was saying, but the thing they were asking for, the voice note, the tea bag in and out. So I thought there was something funny in that.
So it was a real thing that someone was doing on the radio?
The competition or the voice note thing was real, but the rest of it wasn't. No.
Subject. Yeah. I'm pretty sure we've done How Strong Is Your Tea on the radio.
Yeah.
And we on the radio show on Today FM we do voice notes all the time. It wasn't us, was it?
It wasn't.
No,
I don't think. No, it might have been. I don't know. I'll have to ask my brother. I call my brother Paul now and ask him.
But there's definitely then a thing in the type of person then that sends in the voice notes, or the regulars, or the type of person that pours their heart out. Are you constantly on the lookout for the types of characters that you can mine for?
Definitely, yeah. I think a lot of it is like just people who telling themselves accidentally. I just think that is a source of comedy.
Yeah. So you're a people watcher, are you?
Yeah, people watcher, or like people studier, or definitely like I kind of like people I work with are people who you're kind of you grew up with, like definitely people lads I went to school with and stuff like that. Right. I kind of retain it, I suppose. And
so can we hope to see a sketch of 3 presenters on a lovely sofa
God,
in the future?
That's the thing, you see. You know, you're straight. That's why I was asking you, was it us that there was the inspiration behind the teabag thing? It's like, you just don't want to be the victim of it.
Well, I rarely do like complete like pointed ones, but usually it's like an amalgam. If it's like, because then you're like, yeah, exactly, cloaked, well hidden.
I've seen the other one. Tony Cantwell has done the one with Shane Daniel Byrne of this type of thing, of Ireland AM.
Oh.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a lot. Well, I'd watch it for pointers, to be honest.
Yeah. What not to do? Yeah.
Well, in fairness, they're much better than I could ever hope to achieve.
Shane will be on one of these couches definitely for 100% one of these days.
Only in a matter of time, yeah. It's interesting when you say that you showed it to other people or you showed it to other comedians. Would you kind of gauge their reaction before you'd ever put it out there?
Very rarely. Usually, that's the thing that's scary about how much this took off, was that I'm usually probably too confident about when I make something. I'm like, that's going up now. I don't really run it by people that much. But just so happened with this one I did. Yeah. So not really, because as well, we all have different things that we find funny as well, like as professionals or whatever, so you kind of have your own way of doing things. So that kind of, if you show someone else in the game what you've done, and they have their own view of what makes it funny, which might not work for you.
It won't be the same thing, or same style.
Yeah, exactly.
So as well as comedy, you write and you act. Where does your heart lie? Did you have a preference?
All of it, really, yeah. I mean, I'd love to be developing. Like, I have a few things in development, like early days kind of stuff, longer form script stuff so I'd love to kind of see that through. Whether, I'm not necessarily saying to be in them or whatever, but like the writing probably most of all. But I love kind of popping up in people's things.
Because that's very different to the short form online content, which is snappy, which is, you have to grab their attention in the first 3 seconds, so it's a different ballgame, I suppose, there.
It really is, but I always try, like it's like a little doing everything in miniature, like where you're getting to do the filmmaking side of things, the acting, the writing, and it's all. But as you say, like it's almost like a lesson in storytelling, because you have to grab them early on. You have to tell a full story in like 2 minutes or less, and it has to be satisfying and funny. So it's kind of a nice college in that regard to kind of...
Yeah, we're goldfish in our phones. We need right away we need to be dragged in or else we lose interest.
And you're completely in control of the product as well. Every element of it, you're totally in
nice.
control. We've got a few more bits, actually. If you're okay to sit and watch yourself.
Oh, I'll try.
We'll laugh anyway. Take a look at this.
You all set for the weekend? Any plans for the weekend? Tomorrow being Saturday in this scenario. Have you any plans for it? You didn't tell me your mom was around.
When you tell your missus you're only meeting your mates for the 1 pint. No, seriously though, if you're still laughing at this kind of humour in this day and age, you know, you might want to take a long, hard look at yourself, reinforce negative.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's just Keith Duffy here.
How are you, Keith?
We need you.
Me?
Would you like to come and work with us in Thailand?
Yeah.
We'll take very good care of you if you take good care of us.
I'll treat you like a princess.
Your background, like what did you do in college? Or
I did film in college in Galway, film TV production, and then I went on to do a master's in screenwriting, which is, I tell you now, if you want to set yourself up for life, do a master's in screenwriting.
Screenwriting.
So yeah, it's all filmmaking, all that kind of thing. So yeah, it's and then the sketch is kind of it's almost like I started making shorts and kind of longer form sketch stuff, and then now, obviously, since COVID, it's been distilled down into these like...
How do you, in terms of performing on stage, you're going to be performing, this is your show, Great Lad, it's going to be in Vicar Street on the 15th of September. Like, do you take elements of what you've put on screen and bring it to the stage, and how do you decide what you're going to use?
Yeah, definitely. Not so much like characters or stuff like that, but I try and kind of get the energy of the sense of humour and the tone of voice of the online sketches and translate onto a stage thing. So it's all like, it's what you if you like what you see when you're scrolling your phone, it's going to be more the same, but in real life.
Yeah, you get to see it on the stage. Yeah.
Super. And are you looking forward to that date?
I am. I'm very nervous. So I'm going to be stressed out on the bracket now, but it'll be...
You'll be grand. You'll be grand. We're delighted for you. It's on the Vicar Street on the 15th of September, and then venues in Galway, Portlaoise, Dundalk, Limerick, Cork, and on Instagram, Peter J. McGann for more information. Peter, a pleasure to see you.
Thanks a million, guys. Thanks a million.
Pleasure. Right, that's all we've got time for today. Alan, what have you got coming up tomorrow?
Well, Ray, on tomorrow's Ireland AM, this is really interesting. Though most parents will deny it, we'll be learning about the effects of having a favourite child with psychotherapist Coleman Noctor. The Skin Nerd will be teaching us how to hydrate our skin after the summer holidays.
Plus the usual news, sport and weather. Ireland AM is live from 7. Slán for today.
Oh, you got through it. You didn't get here. And you got through your first day, and Ray, you got through it as well.
I survived.
You survived it.
Thanks for reminding me.
Have a nice day. We're back tomorrow from 7. Have a great day. See you then. Bye-bye. Well done.
Thanks, guys.
Well done.